It's not that you weren't the one. I was in two minds, too far away from our roots. I don't know if I can grow without you.
I'm with Demi, Louise, folk pop singer from Australia. Pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you.
My pleasure. I just want to start off. Welcome, Bienvenue au Canada. Welcome to Canada. Your first impression. I wanted to give you a little welcome gift. Okay. It definitely. You see. Okay. I need my cameraman to zoom in now. Yeah, I just thought it definitely it's like a novelty gift for your visit in Toronto and Canada. It's a polar bear. So you probably we were talking about earlier today. You probably won't see one walking the streets, but.
I sleep with bears.
Yeah, you do. Oh, right. See, it was a toss-up between a moose or a bear, and I was like, a bear's traditional. A bear works. So that'll he'll keep you company.
Nigel.
All right, after Greg, and the guy who gave it to you and was interviewed you as well, and had the honor of being your first interview and your first visit to Toronto.
Thank you.
So my pleasure. Yeah, he's got a hoodie. He's all bundled up like I am. Now. Tell me, what's been your first experience, first couple days in Toronto, right? How's that experience been?
It's been amazing.
Good.
It's very, it's got a real vibe about it. It feels very kind of natural and open, and it's been really nice.
Great. Yeah. And I mean, you kind of probably came into Canada expecting something, maybe even snow on the ground. Like, did you come in with expectations and like, what about anything like that?
I expected like trees like this with no leaves.
Yeah.
I think that's probably like the main thing that I kind of expected, and like everything very neutral colors. Like buildings are very neutral colors.
Yeah.
Like I expected that.
Yeah.
I guess, which has been the same. And everyone says out.
They don't say oot. Oot.
Out.
So they emphasize.
Yeah. What else do you say? You say something else.
Well, I think the stereotype is we say a boot a lot.
Yeah.
A boot. And thanks. We say thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
True.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
No.
Very polite people.
Yes. Very friendly.
But very friendly. But as friendly as I imagine Australians to be, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Australians are friendly, but Australians are less bothered, I guess.
Okay.
Australians are more like, how you going? Like more like, meh. So you don't feel like they care as much. But we do care. It just doesn't sound like you care. Whereas here, I don't even know what you say. You don't say how you going.
No.
So,
you say how you doing.
Hello. How you doing?
And then add the A at the end. Then you're.
How you doing? Yeah, that's another thing you say.
Yeah.
A about.
A boot. Now, tell me about your music. I know you're coming off of actually a really successful year last year, kind of touring Europe, right? Touring the UK a little bit, doing some singing and songwriting. Tell me about that experience.
So last year I lived in England for 8 months. It all came about because at the end of 2013 I won a competition to open for Gabra Applin, and that was kind of like naturally where my fan base kind of was. So then I moved there and I was just touring and busking, and I opened for Codaland in Dublin, and then I played at U Bloom in Dublin as well, and Liverpool Sound City, and then that was amazing. Like, it was just amazing to kind of be riding there and spending lots of time there and busking a lot. And then I went to Korea and played at MUCON, and I was the first Australian to showcase in Korea, which was pretty exciting.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Great. It's nice to be the first, kind of a pioneer.
Yeah,
you know?
it's just like, and like people are so kind there. Like it's such a whole other like music industry in general. So it was really nice to kind of get there. And then I went to CMJ in New York, which was cool. And then New York, as it was very big, and it was very like just everything was huge and amazing. And then
a little overwhelming.
Yeah, very overwhelming. Very overwhelming. It was kind of like, it's just the biggest probably place I've ever been. Like London, people like think London's scary, and London is not as scary as New York is.
Yeah. Okay. No, I agree. I've been to both, and it depends on where you go in New York, but yeah, it can be a pretty daunting kind of place, I think.
Yeah. Everyone's in a hurry.
Yeah.
Like, I love America in general. Like, that was my first American experience. So it was kind of like that was just the best way to start it, I guess. Is like
Best first impression. Yeah.
It seems like the obvious choice. And then I went to Kansas in February and played at Folk Alliance, and that was like a whole nother side to America, I guess. It was like in the middle of nowhere, and it was snowing and freezing, and yeah, it was like lots of Americana music, so that was amazing. And then I went to Austin to do South by Southwest, which was like, again, huge and lots of people and amazing. And this is my first time in Canada, so here we are.
So here we are. It came kind of, you're going everywhere, and you're really developing your international reputation now. Korea, the States, UK, now Canada.
Yeah.
And so you're going to take part in a little bit of some songwriting events. Tell me about those, what you're planning on doing over the next week.
So APRA, which is like the Australian Performers' Rights Association, runs these song hubs where they pair the top Australian songwriters kind of people with the top writers and producers. Yep. So I'm spending a week writing at the Noble Street Studios, I think it's called.
Okay.
And yeah, so there's some people from 3 Days Grace there, which is really exciting. So I can't wait to just keep writing and get in there. So I did one of them in London as well last year. So it's a really good opportunity, so I'm pretty lucky. Pretty lucky.
Well, you're here for Canadian Music Week, of course, from May 1st to May 9th, I believe, is the span, and you're going to play 2 shows. Tell me where you're playing and kind of what you're going to be playing. Give me an idea of your set.
So I'm playing at Cameron House and the Horseshoe Tavern, which are very close to each other, I discovered today. And I think they're both like very well suited to solo artists, like from what I've seen. And I'm pretty excited because I want to spend a lot more time in Canada, because a few of my friends have kind of come over, and like I know that the music kind of scene here is very different, and I feel like I've spent time in England, so Canada's kind of like the next place I want to go to, so I'm excited to kind of play for the first time, I guess. So I'm excited.
Great. And I know it was in Kansas, you posted a video of you and Canadian artist, musician, Tim Chasen, and you played your original song, one of your original songs called Realize, yes. And you performed that, and that was pretty exceptional. That was kind of the first song that I heard of yours. Very awesome song. And is that your newest single then?
No, it's not going to be a new single. It was just kind of like a song that I wrote like late last year, and Tim and I just met at one of the showcases, and we were hanging out, and then he heard me play that song, and then we just started chatting, and then I was like, oh, let's quickly go and do a version of it. Like, that was like the second time we'd ever played it like together, so it was very like improvised. It was very like, we'll just set up the webcam and record it, but it came out quite good.
Yeah, it really did.
He's lovely,
and that's where the music just flows. That's one of those where it's just improvised, nothing's forced, and that's where you produce the best music, right? When when you feel that connection, then you just go, let's do it, right?
And like, he's so talented at what he does. Like, I'm not saying I could really improvise as well on his songs as he improvised on mine, but it was really good. So it was nice.
Good. And I know you had a really successful run. One of your newest singles, I think, is Ruins, right? It went to number 7 on the singer-songwriters charts, right? And so tell me about that then.
So Ruins I released at the start of last year, and it was like my first proper single. And it got to number 7 in the singer-songwriter charts, which was like really exciting because it happened completely organically. Like, we didn't have any marketing budget or nothing. Like, that was just purely from my fan base. So I was really lucky that everyone kind of like latched onto it, and obviously a very underdeveloped kind of song and everything like that, so it was really nice that it kind of just did so well, and it was kind of like my presentation, I guess, is like my first proper single. So it was nice.
And as a first, I mean, it really did really well though. That must have made you feel good. I mean, it was a good start.
It did. I was really lucky.
And now your next single as well, Rivers Run to Red, right? That's been a big hit.
That's not going to be my single.
Okay.
That's
an original.
It's original. It won the Australian Songwriters Association Best Contemporary Pop/Dance Song. So the original is actually quite a lot more electronic than obviously what my style is. I would love to include it as like an album track, but at the moment we're not looking at it as a single just because it's kind of like a different style. But as a writer, like, I enjoy writing in all those different kind of styles, so I've been really lucky because it was picked up by the German Voice winner. Her name was Charlie Ann, and she's released it on her album literally like 2 weeks ago, and so that was like my first ever cover someone kind of doing it, and obviously it's a massive deal from someone that's like in that position with.
But that must be one of the most validating things as a singer-songwriter, to then have your own song covered. I mean, you hear the biggest stars in the world having that done, of course, and you had that experience already so early in your career. You're only 21, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what a very validating thing, though.
It was, and it was amazing, and it was really like, it was one of my first co-writes ever. So I was so nervous about the concept of co-writing, but to have my song cut and covered and like off my first co-write, it just really kind of validated me, because I've always wanted to be a songwriter for other people, not just like myself. And so it was really validating, and kind of was like, I know I can do this. So it was good.
So for anybody that doesn't really know, familiar with your style of music, you're folk pop. I really like the way you strum your guitar. I really like the voice pairing. I really love that the rendition that you sang with Tim Chasen again, with the accompaniment of the violin. That was really nice. But who would you, for somebody who isn't familiar with your work, with your style, how would you describe your artistry, your creativity?
I class myself as folk pop. Obviously it's kind of got like the acoustic bass to it, but my songs are very personal and very kind of like upfront, if you know what I mean. Like they're very valid to like my life and my personal experiences. So I don't know, I guess that's kind of how I describe my music, is that it's just very relatable. It's not really artistically genius, but it's very like raw. It's kind of there, and you can listen to it and you know what I'm singing about, kind of thing. I see myself as that kind of artist, I guess. Like walking down the street and this song perfectly matches what you're feeling in your life, because everyone has the same experiences. So that's probably how I see myself. That's
certainly where the best material comes from anyways, when it's raw and emotional and directly gives kind of insight of your own life experience. So it's a great way to actually to draw from, you know, and to make the most real music. And who would you consider your kind of your biggest inspirations in music?
I have like a really wide range of musical influences. Like I listen to a lot of different music. Like I listen to a lot of pop, but then I listen to like singer-songwriters and folk, and then I like Bob Marley and stuff like that. But I guess like I really like Ed Sheeran, and I really like Joni Mitchell, and then I really like Eminem, like for his lyrical abilities. So it's kind of like I have a really, like I love James Morrison and Tom Adele, and
cool.
I don't know, everyone. I like Gabrielle Aplin as well. So I was a huge fan of hers before I opened for her, so that was cool.
Yeah, well, even better actually that you knew you're familiar with your work, so you knew what you were getting into beforehand, and then you got to open for. And,
I know,
and that's impressive. Sorry, I just have a couple notes here as well. Gabrielle Aplin, and I mean that's huge too, because she's a megastar on YouTube. She's also worked with Ed Sheeran, big mega superstar in the world right now. I mean, he's really widely known outside the UK as well, and that must have been a really neat experience. Tell me about that experience, being able to work with her and open for her.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was amazing, and especially because I was just such a massive fan as well beforehand, and
you were just like soaking up the experience like a sponge, you know?
I know, and I knew like that her fans, because we had similar fans, that crowd was going to be really receptive, and just to like be able to play in front of a crowd of that size was kind of amazing. It was the biggest crowd I've ever played to, and straight after that tour, like she went on and toured with John Mayer for like a month and a half or something like that, and it was just ridiculous. Like, it was just like I didn't even know how that was possible, but she was amazing and lovely, and we sort of stayed in touch afterwards as well, so it's just nice to kind of have had that experience, I guess.
And you definitely did she definitely give you an opportunity to kind of learn? Did you kind of learn things from her about?
We were just hanging out.
Yeah.
Really.
All right.
We were just hanging out, but we caught up when she was in Melbourne, like at the start of last year, and like we were talking about me moving to England and all that sort of thing. So I mean, I feel like I can always ask her opinion on stuff. But yeah, it was really good, really good.
And she herself, her career got started off of YouTube, and it's amazing the kind of impact that social media, YouTube, those kind of outlets can make.
One of the first real like YouTubers, I guess.
Was she
like,
really?
Like that I started watching, that did like acoustic kind of covers that weren't like overproduced. It was kind of like very much in her style. So I've been watching her for years. So it was cool. It was
before she had a verified account on Twitter.
Yeah. I was watching her when like she did I didn't even know. It was ages ago, and like she only had like 2,000 followers on Instagram, and then all of a sudden like she like blew up, and I didn't even realize. Like I went to watch Ed Sheeran in Melbourne, and I was as excited to watch her as I was to watch Ed Sheeran because she opened for him, and then that was before she even opened the competition to support her, so it was cool. Really cool.
And given the kind of impact that clearly social media can make, what kind of impact does it make, or how do you use social media to get yourself out there? Do you use it a lot?
I think it makes a massive difference. I just think it's like a tool that's kind of put in front of you now. Like everyone has a mobile phone and everyone has access to the internet in some way, and I just think like people used to walk around the town and put posters up and try and promote themselves that way, and I just think social media is like a whole other platform that's so much more accessible, and like you don't have to you can show your real personality through anything, and like you are just who you are in that way if you are kind of open to sharing that with anyone. And especially as like I write music that's so personal, it's like I like a lot of my songs are about moving around now because that's kind of what I'm doing, and those experiences, and so it's kind of like people know that because I show them that, and then they hear the songs, and then it all just kind of comes together. So you develop like a really strong relationship with people, and I think it's like really important.
You're definitely making a name for yourself. You've got a lot of followers on Twitter. You're kind of famous in that sense already, right?
I get a lot of like support and like a lot of interaction, which is really good. And I think interaction is like the most important thing these days, like because everyone can. There are so many more musicians and so many more people that are posting their music online, and like it's so much more accessible for people to find other people's music. But you have to kind of, if people care about you, you have to care about them because they're as important as what you are. You know what I mean? Like if someone's supporting you and you make that connection, then they kind of value what you're doing more, and that's the whole reason why you do it, is so people value what you're doing. So yeah, I think that interaction is really important, and it's really important to just be real. Like if someone, like I appreciate it so much, like every time I get a tweet I get so excited about it, and like if someone comes to my show that I don't know, it's literally the most exciting thing that's ever happened to me. Like and it sounds really silly, and some people are like, why? And I'm like, I don't know, it's just so exciting, like that someone knows my songs just from like the internet and like makes the time to come and see me play like in person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Some people think it's a bit weird how excited I get, but they're always like, thank you so much. I'm like, thank you so much
for liking my music, for following me, you know? Yeah. And I can imagine like early on in a career too, that's the most exciting thing.
It's so exciting. It is like the best feeling, and like I get as excited when I get tweets from people, because to me it's kind of like it's so validating that they're taking time to kind of like watch it.
to watch, to follow your career, to listen to your music. I mean, that's the most important thing when it comes down to it. That's what you want to see, and then but to see them kind of receiving you in that way live,
happy as well. Like when you're playing a show and you can just see that people are happy to be watching you, and you're just like, it's so amazing.
Now, I understand, as successful as you are, you got started in music a little bit later. I understand we were talking about that you got started late, and actually in grade school, when you were younger, actually dropped music and then found it later. Tell me about that.
So I did music at high school, as everyone does, but I wasn't very good at it. Like I was really bad at it, and like I was sort of like a straight A student in everything else, and the music was like I was getting C's and D's and stuff, and so I dropped it as soon as I could. And music theories, like I still don't get music theory. Like I'm not theory minded. Like everything that I did was kind of self-taught and just by ear. So then when I was 16, I went and auditioned for Australian Idol because I wanted to meet the host, Andrew G, and then I got through that round, and then they were who told me to go and learn guitar. And I'd always written poetry, so as soon as I kind of like started learning guitar, I started writing songs. My family were like, oh, we didn't know you could sing, kind of thing, because I used to kind of sing out of tune on purpose because I just sort of thought that was what you did. I don't know, it was weird, it was really weird, but I still have like a car singing voice that is like completely different to my actual voice. But that's kind of how it all started. And then I started writing songs. Then my parents were like, you need to go and play an open mic. And then from that I started getting bookings, and then from that it started growing, and then I started doing the YouTube thing. And
Yeah.
it'll kind of happen from there.
And certainly using your vlogs to give kind of personal insight with your fans, give them kind of a window into your personal life. I know you posted a video too when you were on your way. I think you were with your mom in the car, and you were on your way to go do some busking. Is it busking? Yeah. And your mom sarcastically, I'm sure she's very supportive, but your mom sarcastically said, "Why don't you get a real job? You know, you could have made $30 by now." Right? But she's very supportive.
Yeah, she's very supportive, but she was so annoyed because there was so much traffic, and she was just like, "We're spending $15 on parking, and then like we spent like 3 hours in traffic, and like, why did you just get a real job?" It was pretty funny.
Instead of spending this money, you could have made it. Yeah. We're now down.
We're in the negative. Yeah, it was funny. It's a funny one.
Yeah. And just final note, what's next for you? I know that you have another single coming out in June. Is that right? So tell me about that.
Yeah, so my next single's coming out, the start of June. It's called Restless, and I'm really excited because obviously it's been like over a year now, well, just over a year since Ruins, and it's kind of like another side to my music. But as much as it's been a while, like I've kind of been so busy and writing and all that, I kind of wanted to really just develop on that front, like because Ruins did so well. I kind of really just wanted to get everything together before I kind of like made another release. So I'm pretty excited about it. It's more upbeat as well, so it's kind of like a bit different to Ruins, I guess. Okay. So yeah, it should be good. I co-wrote the song with a guy named Jez Ashurst, who I basically love everything. Like he wrote Gabrielle Aplin's album with her, and I've like loved all of his work, and I knew that he worked at Talyard Studios, and when I was doing a writing camp there, I was like determined that I was going to find him, and I was like looking around and I couldn't find him. Anyway, it turns out at the end of the week that I was writing in his studio, and he heard some of the stuff that was there and contacted me afterwards and was like, "I'd love to write with you." And I was like, oh my god, like I was like, I've been trying to find you all week, and then he found me, so it was really good. So then we wrote this song together, and it's pretty cool.
Awesome. Good luck in the gigs that you're going to be playing. You're going to kill it and raise the roof. So best of luck, and enjoy the rest of Toronto. Hopefully you get out and get to do some sightseeing and everything like that, and get to a Blue Jays game. And take more selfies with squirrels. Yeah. Just don't turn your back on them. They can get very, very vicious. Okay. So thanks very much once again to me, Louise. Really appreciate it, and all the best to you.
It's not that you weren't the one I was into mines. Too far away from our roots. I don't know if I can grow without